sorry, Farnaz, you go.
No, go ahead, Rachel.
How much impact we have on shaping our child's mind?
No. How much?
A lot.
I could tell you from experience, it never ends. I'm still doing it. No, really, I'm still doing it every day.
Okay.
Doesn't end. You still can do it. Even when you just say to them, Shabbat Shalom, and they repeat Shabbat Shalom, you're shaping their mind.
We'll see. I'm not so sure, but we'll see. Okay. We spoke about it before, how much impact the parents have on shaping up the mind of a child and his self-image, how he will develop his self-image, and how much obligation we have to be careful from every word that's coming out of our mouth. Especially not to use the terms in a very terrible nicknames that is humiliating and degrading the child. And I don't have to tell you what damage it does to the child. Through the long run, it might be terrible. So since we're dealing with punishments, I think it's going to be proper to acknowledge it time after time after time. Time after time. Because there are some parents, and then when they get angry, they erupt on the kids, and they using derogatory names. In a good case, to shake them up. And we want to let them know the severity of their deed. And in the worst case, what are we doing? Our goal is to humiliate them and to make them feel bad, to hurt them actually. Maybe they see it as a punishment that bring the chinuch, but they don't know that they making such a terrible thing to the child for generations. Because you went to the most delicate part of the neshama of a person, of a child, and you humiliating the child in front of other people. There are kids that because of that, they eating themselves from shame, and they closing themselves and zero. So now they don't let themselves connect with the surrounding. They're afraid to get hurt. So already they're not healthy. And there are kids, especially teenagers, that are so ashamed. So they're so angry on their parents. They're looking for a way to seek revenge against their own parents. And sometimes in the most hurtful way, and they know that they're hitting the target. How? They're failing again, and the same thing that we criticizing them, they're doing it again and again and again. They don't care that they're destroying their life. They don't care. Sometimes you see a child that is doing things that doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? You're gonna ruin your future. What are you doing? You think they care? I don't think so. They want to seek revenge from the parents. They want to express the anger that they have toward the parents. A friend of mine told me that a teenager came to him for a therapy, that he was caught time after time stealing. How did it happen? It started at home. He used to take things without asking permission. And his father called him a thief. And this stigma and nickname got clinged to him. Every time his father used to scream at him or criticize him, he started, "Hey, you thief, come here, I have to talk to you." I don't have to tell you what happened. It's very much understandable that the anger went so deep. And he pushed out every little bit love for his father that he still had. He pushed it to the side. And he has an urge to show his father that you were not able to change me. It became mamash a war zone. So he told me when this teenager came to me, he was already a criminal. Few times got caught by the police, sat in jail few times. And he's saying to the therapist, every time I went to steal, I said, Abba, I'm a thief, yes? Here is one more to the recollection. He told me I was in shock, but I was not surprised. Because that's what it is. So, everybody in the class, please adopt this one. Don't you ever, never, ever embarrass your child, and you not degrade the child, and you're not humiliating a child. Even privately. I'm not talking now in public. If you want to tell the child something, wait for the right time. When you have time to weigh every word and every expression, in the right dose, and not overpowering. When you want to scream at a child or to complain, put in your mind that now you're going to give him a very strong medicine. What happened when the pharmacist or the doctor giving you a strong medicine? If you're going to take a little bit extra, what's going to happen to you?
Stomach pains, nausea, side effects, negative side effects.
So instead of healing you, it will put you in danger. When it comes to medicine, we understand. So I promise you, no disaster will happen if the father will call the child into the room when it's quiet, everything is fine. Abba is relaxed. And he will tell him, you know, I was very sad. Or to reveal that today you didn't behave right. Don't you think that the child would be ashamed? When Abba will show him in a nice way that he was disappointed without any, no humiliating, no names calling, no. It will do much more to the child than all the eruptions that we're always doing. Even if the child will stumble and he failed, if you're going to use a language explanatory. Explain the child. With a pleasant atmosphere, calm atmosphere, it's very much, it will encourage the child to listen. And Shlomo HaMelech said already, Lashon Raka. If you're going to learn how to talk softly and nicely, you can break a bone. A bone will break. Not to talk about kids, yeah. So, back to you, parents. When you're giving a punishment to the child, it's very important that the child will know the reason why he be punished. And this is not the time now to tell him the severity of what he did. And this is not the time now to tell them what have to be done next time. If you decided that the punishment has to be on the spot and has to be on the spot.
Rav, can I ask a question? I'm sorry. When you say you shouldn't say what should be done next time, do you mean you shouldn't say you shouldn't have done this, you should have done this, and like we should say that this was the right thing to have done? You shouldn't explain that?
Don't say nothing. You've been punished because you did ABC. Conversation is over, okay? And you don't have to give now a dose of musar. Why? Even when the punishment is the right thing to do at the moment, it's not something pleasant to the child. And no child likes to be punished. Even though it's coming from a loving heart, and the one who caused you the wounds now is the best person that loves you the most, is your parent. The kids don't like it. But when we have to say what we need to punish, it's still hurting the child. We have to know that. And it can be very annoying. Yeah, imagine you smack the child. How does the child feel?
That you hate him at that moment.
And you're saying,
No?
he knows that you love him. He knows it. But you give him a smack. Even though you think it was the right thing to do, is he starting to dance?
No. He gets upset, angry.
Of course he's upset.
He's going to respond.
So now you think now if you're going to give him half an hour שיעור באורחות הצדיקים או מסילת ישרים, דרחובות הלבבות, what do you think? It will be able now?
Not at all.
Leave it the way it is. So now, if we're gonna do this, the outcome will be exactly the opposite of what we're looking for. We think now it's an opportunity to tell the child, you don't do something like this, shame on you, and and you're gonna bombard him with all kinds of things. It will create a boomerang. Yes, we have to tell the child how to behave, but when? This is not the right moment now. And when you're punishing, definitely is not the time. Because his mind is busy, it hurts, he feels disappointed, he's upset, he's angry. Imagine you angry, a wife, okay? You angry, and your husband comes and says, do you know what the Gemara says? איזו אישה כשרה העושה רצון בעלה. If you kosher one, you have to listen to what I'm telling you to do. She's very interested, right? You see?
No. She's gonna kill him.
She's gonna kill him.
To say it nicely.
But he comes and says, look, it's written over here.
It's all about the timing, Rav, like you mentioned. It's not the right time.
So you're not religious. You could cover off the head off. You don't care. That's the time now?
No.
No.
But Rav, is it okay in that moment to enumerate the problem and say, I'm punishing you because you did, and then say exactly descriptively so that they walk away understanding exactly what the problem was?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying exactly, you said it very well. I'm punishing you because of A, B, C, and 0.
What if they start telling you, but mom, this and that, and but mom, this happened first, and they bring you 1,000,001 reasons? Do you negotiate with them, or do you go
No
with
negotiation. If you decided that this is the proper thing to do, you're not budging anymore.
Rav, but what if you feel you reacted too quickly?
Opa.
Meaning, again, I know Rav mentioned this before, but you were just emotional and the other one is screaming and that's happening. And you made something that is too extreme for the punishment, as a punishment. What could you do now? Do you still follow through, or do you say, like, what do?
You follow through. And then when everything, the ordeal is over, you take in the child and you tell, I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you do it?
I've done it before once. I'm just wondering if the child's going to look down, meaning if it's too extreme, like it doesn't make sense, and then there's a bigger balagan now. Now you're dealing with another thing. So you should still follow through, even though it's out of proportion, like Rav said. And then you apologize to them at a later time, saying, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
You can't say I made a mistake right then and there. It's not the time.
I want to bring you to a point that you're not going to lose your mind. Because when you're losing your mind, you're losing the respect of the child. And this should not happen. This is a disaster.
Yes. Thank you very much, Rav.
By the way, a little bit off topic. Tomorrow night is the last night of Hanukkah. I will take this opportunity tomorrow night to speak about the parashiyot that we're reading these weeks, about Yosef Atzadik, why it falls on Hanukkah always, and how much he showed respect. We can learn a lot from there. It came to my mind because everything what we're turning around and around, there is two problems over here. The husband and the wife do not respect each other. The house is a hefker world, and the kids not respecting the parents, or they are afraid of you, but not respecting you, which is mamash, something that I cannot even think what's going to be the outcome. Because when you don't have respect, so the kids to follow. So again, and again, and again, and again, until you're going to get tired of me and I will not see anybody here. All right? We have to work on our shalom bayit. Don't avoid it. Don't neglect it. Don't deny it. It's going to be costly. It's going to be costly. Very costly, actually. All what you see today from the kids, because they're coming from not respectful home. When they're coming from home that Abba and Ima have respect, he will act totally different. From time to time, he is as a child, he'll fall here and there, but not as what we see now. I'm always implementing this, always. And when you're losing control, tell me something. If you see a grown-up losing control, do you have any respect toward this person?
No.
No, right?
No.
So time it by 1,000, because a kid is very sensitive. When he sees that a person losing his mind, losing control, we're done. We are done with this. Yes. Many people want to avoid it. They want to neglect, deny the reality. One day they're going to slap on her face. You cannot run away from the reality. This you cannot do. Don't do it. Not recommended. With the reality, you have to deal. So serious people will do it. Not serious people. They say, Whatever will be, will be. Now, we will wait with the child until everything will calm down, maybe after a day, maybe after 2 days. And again, we're smiling to each other with this, Ima, Abba, like things as usual. Now, it's time to sit down with him and tell him, we felt very bad to punish you, but we had no choice. So now let's think. How are we going to protect you for not to fall again into the same thing that happened that day? Let's think together what you say, what we say. So you see, he's not parents that coming to tell him, we're discussing, we want to help you. You said your idea, and we will say our idea, and we will see. That's the way to deal with the child. But again, do we have the patience for that?
No, Rav.
Anybody who?
No, Rav, we want instant coffee. We want things to work right away.
Fast everything.
I think part of the problem is having very high expectations of our children, like we have for ourselves. We sometimes think they should know better, forgetting that they're kids.
That's my next topic. We're dealing with kids.
A good segue.
After all, we're dealing with kids. But this is my next one. Listen what the Pirkei Avot says. The Pirkei Avot, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar אומר, אל תרצה את חברך בשעת כעסו. When somebody is angry, leave him alone. Don't start to tell him, you should, why are you acting this way? You should act this way. He will jump on you also. Keep quiet. ואל תנחמנו, don't comfort him when he's dead, when somebody on the bed just passed away, you coming to comfort him. He will not even register it. ואל תשאל לו בשעת נידו. You see a person making a neder, and you try to tell him, don't do this. He says, well, another one, and another one. Leave it alone.
Sorry, Rav, I didn't understand the last one about the neder. What was that?
Don't come to tell him, why did you do it?
Oh, why did you make a neder?
Why did you do the neder?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because he might do another one and another one. Here comes the Maharal Prague, the genius, and he will tell us what's going on over here, why we cannot do it. He said, the nature of a person, if one of the feelings, let's say you're angry now, So now the anger conquered you so much that there is no other place for any other things that he wants to hear now. If in such an hour somebody will come to tell him, you know, maybe you should calm down a little bit, instead of putting water into the fire, you're throwing gasoline into the fire. At the time when you see a person, if is your friend, angry and he lost control, leave it alone. When you see your friend that just they've been informed that his relative passed away, don't come to tell him now condolences and so on. He's not interested. Why? Because right now he is crying. He wants people to cry with him, not to tell him that there is another side. He will not going to accept it. When somebody making a neder, don't come to tell him, you know, don't do it. Why doing it? Because did you say it? Don't do it? Davka. And I make another one. He lost it. So when the child is upset from the punishment they had to give him, it's not the time now to tell him no musar, no comfort, leave it alone. Let it come down, and then we have time to talk to the child.
I have a question. If the child gets upset from the punishment and, for example, goes to their room and closes the door, should you just leave them or?
Leave.
Okay.
Rav,
How long?
A what?
For how long?
How long it takes you if your husband will tell you something that you don't like? Oh, you know what? I'll take it one step further. Your husband decided to punish you. And you got into your room. I don't want to talk. Now, even if he wants now to come to down, the more he will talk, the more you're gonna. So imagine as a child. Imagine a child. How does it feel? The two people that have to love him the most decided to punish him. He knows that he deserves it. He or she. So let him deal with himself.
Rav, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What if it's between siblings? They're fighting and they're both angry, and the little one is hitting the big one, or they're breaking toys for each other. They're both upset at each other. Do you get involved to just separate them because you know it could escalate? or do you just let it go?
Do they have any tools?
The bigger one tries to calm down the little one. The older one tries to say calm down and helps, but sometimes it's between the two little ones and he interferes and says calm down and, you know, tries to distract him, but he's very, very sensitive and he gets angry very fast. The younger one, he's 4. And he doesn't, when he gets upset, that's it. He's very sensitive and he doesn't want you to hold him or anything. He just wants his space, but he's getting distracted, like breaking toys because he gets angry. He's 4.
If you know how to break it up, okay, in a very calm way. Okay, I see what's going on. And you take one, you put it this way, and another one put it this way, and I told you. My mother used to tell us 5 Israeli boys. You can fight, but don't make noise. Don't make noise.
Takes talent, Rabbi. I don't know.
Don't make noise.
Okay.
Okay.
But in general, Rav, if they're not screaming, they're just fighting, should you get involved in general with 2 older kids? Like a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old? Should you get involved if they're fighting or?
You separate them and it says, you know, in this house, we're not going to tolerate it because whoever lift his hand up is a Rasha. It's not going to happen over here.
Okay. So we should say that at that moment.
Yes,
Okay.
and in a tune that not that you're just about to lose it, and are you firm? No expression is that this is against the Torah. It will not happen in this house.
Okay, we'll work on it. Thank you very much, Rav.
Yeah. You know, when the relationship is good between the parents and the kids, and this is what it used to be in the old generation, one look is enough. Did you see once such a chinuch? Huh? Especially the older one, right?
My
Yes.
father used to give me that look.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Did he had to say something, Michlal?
No.
No.
Even today, my father's 98. He doesn't, it just can look, I know.
You don't want to see that look.
He's not going to raise his voice.
No. And the child, you know, we becoming red. You know, he is already ashamed of what he did. This is already not a style of chinuch. No. The parents have a very, very strong character. He shows Atzilut. You know what Atzilut means? Royalty. He doesn't lose himself. בכלל. He shows you warmth, but with authority. Not too many, very few people have this. I'm sorry to say it, very few.
Rav, what have we lost over the generations?
First of all, is a gift. Some people they show authority. They're very nice people, extremely nice. And when someone is doing something that they don't like, just one expression on their face and the other party will freeze. He knew he did something not correct, but meantime, the person with the royalty didn't say even one word. From his face or from his eyes, you can see he didn't like it. This is a matana. It's a gift. Because he's never going to humiliate you, never going to degrade you. Nothing is done. Just one look, and the message went across very nicely. Alevai, we should have it. Alevai. And if you have this matana from Hashem, that you have a warm face and you know how to smile, you have to develop it. You have to work on it more and more. Very few people. They met very few. So if you have it, by all means use it. Because this was the chinuch. People had royalty, respect. We as kids, I remember. In any case, very important to pay attention that the reaction that we have is going to be with patience, to weigh it up, to do this, to do that, to think. According to the severity of the case. Leave your ammunition, the reaction, the strong ones, to the place when it's needed. If you're going to throw every time an atom bomb, so you don't have anything else to make the other side thinking. We have limited arsenal of weapons. If you're going to use the best one in every small, so for the real problem, what you're going to do? This you learn in the army. When they're throwing Arabs, throwing at us stones, so we shooting at them, not with bullets, with from a rubber, pack, and it hurts, but they're not gonna kill you with this. It hurts, okay, fine. But when they're gonna shoot at you, then we're gonna shoot back, Habibik. Because now we're gonna show you. And when you're gonna throw at us missiles, then the Air Force will come. Imagine every stone that an Arab will throw, the Air Force will come.
Rav, then CNN would say it's a disproportionate reaction.
Fake news, anyway. CNN. So everything has to be done with proportion. Proportion is very important, proportion. Listen to this. Some parents listen to what they say. What's going to be the end with you? What do you want me to die? You don't care if I'll get a heart attack? Or Ima get into hysterical mood. You don't know what you're doing to me. You mamash killing me. Wow. Why do we have to say it? This is called manipulation, right? Emotional manipulation, we call it. Because the kids, they don't know that you're saying it already from frustrations. They think, Behemet, if mommy will get sick, it's our fault. And now they're gonna carry with them guilt, feelings, don't ask. So imagine, Behemet, after a few days, the father got a heart attack. Why? And the child could not be able to forgive himself. That's in a good case. In a bad case, the child gets used to this already. It doesn't make any impact on him. Why? Because he heard so many times, I'm going to get a heart attack because of you, going to get a heart attack. Finally, finally he gets already quite fed up with this and says, okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that this kind of reaction can make the child behave in a nicer way?
Maybe for the moment, Rav, but it gives them anxiety, like Rav mentioned. Makes them more anxious. And they're not doing it because they want to, but because they're scared. No, Rav?
They're not going to change even kacha.
But for the moment, Rav, they're not going to want to just do it, like to listen. They might get scared or no. Because the father and mother said I'm going to get a heart attack. I don't know.
First of all, they don't know what does it mean, heart attack. But here, they have some.
Like if they say, "Oh, I'm gonna die," doesn't that give the child anxiety and fear?
Of course, that's called emotional manipulation.
Mm.
And with this, I will end. Listen, what באמת we have to do. Once, one Avrech, he told me how it was in his parents' house, what kind of chinuch he got. He says, once I brought home a book that the author was not religious at all, but it was talking about wars and army, no emunah or something like this. Now, he said, my father saw me reading this book. And he is a Hasid. His father looked at him. Pitom, his father burst with crying. He cried his heart out. He said, I was so taken by this to see my father not saying one word, only crying. And he said, from that moment on, I didn't even touch a book that was written by author which is not observant. And even when he told me the story, I saw tears in his eyes. What an impact he left with the child. He was a child. His father don't calling him name, nothing so bad. His father started to cry. He saved his kid. You see, this is not a common reaction, but this is enough to leave an impact on the child until his last day of his life. Without nothing need to be said, nothing. One of my classmates, he told me once, he was a chachke, but he was very smart. His father was important man. One day he came home with a note from the Rabbi. Ima opened up the note She saw it, she didn't say one word. She took that healing book, she sat on the chair, was reading and crying. Not saying to the child one word. Then his father came. He saw the note. He's saying to the child, you go to sleep. We're going to talk in the morning. We're going to talk. Now it's not time to talk now. The child went to sleep. Woke up in the morning. Abba was waiting for him. He told Chaimke, if you behaved like you were behaving in yeshiva because you wanted Ima not to sleep all night, you were very successful. Very. Ima didn't sleep even 1 hour, 1 minute. The whole night she was reading Tehillim. So you should do tshuva. Now, if this was not your intention, so you know what to do, you can go back to yeshiva. Did you understand this message? Did you understand what I said?
Yes, Rav. Isn't that
Yes, Rabbi.
kind of like emotional manipulation, though?
No.
That's not at all.
They didn't tell him nothing. He said, Mommy prayed for you all night. That's all.
It's giving the child an insight on how we can control. The child is responsible for his behavior. He can have one outcome or another outcome. The child can go back to school and change his own behavior.
It's a reaction that the child would never thought he would see. No screaming at him, no shouting, not telling him, why did you behave like this? Nothing. If this was your intention, you were successful, 100%. Did he call him any names? Did they scream at him? Threatening him? Nothing. He will remember it until his last day. Because as soon as Ima opened the letter, she didn't start to scream at him. She took the healing book, she went to the side, and he saw tears were coming out. That's enough for the child. You don't have to tell him anything anymore. That's how you put him in line. So they understand from themselves that they cause pain to the other side without the other side saying one word. Like this boy that he read a book which is not proper according to the father. The father didn't tell him anything.
Rabbi, is this something that is a reverse psychology?
No. It's a reaction, a truthful one. And the child knows how to relate to it. And he sees that the parents care so much that they bring him to tears. You think he will do it again? Never ever. Because this picture, you can't forget. Okay. Think about it. Think about it. I know that we're not accustomed to such a reaction, right?
Not at all.
Not at all, but this is באמת a reaction that will put the most influence on the child's mind. Think about it. שבוע טוב, everybody.
Shavua Tov, Rav. Thank you.
חנוכה שמח, ראש חודש טוב.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And I see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And tomorrow night we're going to talk about again Yosef HaTzadik and respect.
Looking forward, Rav. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
Shabbat
Shavua
tov.
Thank you
tov.
so much.
Shavua tov, Shavua tov.
Shavua tov. Thank you very much.
Shavua Tov.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Bye.